Hi everybody. So before I go into talking about my piece and reading it, I'm going to give you a little bit of a background on it. During my time as an undergrad at Cabrini, I took a course taught by Dr. Michelle Filling Brown called In My Body. And it was just about body image and different things that come up when we talk about beauty and the standards that society has kind of given us about what is beautiful and what isn't. Interestingly enough, a little plug for my my alma mater. They're gonna be having a body image conference on October 22nd and 23rd. They're gonna have different keynote speakers. They're gonna have performances for the In My Body musical, which is really intriguing. And they're gonna have sessions and workshops. So if you're interested in that, go to www.cabrini.edu/bodyimageconference. You could potentially, I think, get tickets to go see it if they're not sold out already. It's a big thing. It's going to be really interesting, and I'm sure a lot of fun and very eye-opening. So just a little bit about that, and now I'm going to talk about my piece. So for this class, this was my essay about what it's like to live inside my body. And it's a really kind of interesting thing to ask yourself. You know, a lot of times we look at ourselves and we think, oh, I hate this about myself, or I hate that, or I like this, or I like that about myself. But a lot of times we don't really think, you know, what is my day-to-day in my body? How do I feel in my own body? So this is kind of me just expressing in an abstract kind of way what it feels like to be me. And we could have done this in any kind of fashion. We could have written a poem. We could have written a short story. Mine's just abstract, and I kind of started writing and just went with it. So I'm going to read that to you, and then I will talk a little bit more about it when I'm done. In my body, I feel anything but beautiful. Things jiggle where they shouldn't, and things are flat where they should be voluptuous. I try to tell myself that I wasn't born to be thin, something I whispered to myself between gulps of milk and bites of cookies that add layers of mush to my already gut-worthy abdomen. My body is like that 3 a.m. hangover concoction gone wrong. The stretch marks on my skin were from a battle with my mind. These stripes were created through tears of sweet tea as I swallowed my sadness and drowned out the voices that told me I didn't matter. Being good enough was never an option. I always had to be better, but food never asked that of me. Sometimes I wonder if things would have turned out differently had he never told me I was disgusting. He never said it in so many words, but when you tell a 4-year-old, if you keep eating like that, you'll be as big as a house, they don't often thank you for your input and move about their lives. No. I buried that comment between the rolls in my flesh that I washed down with milk as I ate away my sorrow. It didn't help that my older sister was the clear favorite and twig skinny. I remember being jealous of her apparent thinness and angry that she would hide her figure in baggy clothes while I was hiding my figure for a completely different reason. She was a petite filet mignon, and I was a slab of prime rib wrapped and marbled in pearls of fat, something that would never change. The summer going into junior year of high school, I gained 30 pounds. A good friend of mine and subsequent crush left for college, leaving in his wake a broken-hearted girl who needed to forget. I drowned myself in Arizona iced tea, choked down food between sobs, and hid between the throw pillows of my sofa where my stomach blended in perfectly. I often wish I could go back and tell that girl she was beautiful. Maybe if I had done that, I would be thinner now, as I have been unsuccessful in losing the weight I gained that summer. I still can't stomach the taste of Arizona iced tea. Despite my proclamations of hate for my abdomen, it's one of my boyfriend's favorite places on my body. When we lay in bed at night, he isn't searching for that all-coveted thigh gap. Rather, he's grasping at the donuts, cookies, and various sweets that have accumulated over the years. His love for a part of my body that I hate does nothing to squash the daydreams of sucking the fat out of my stomach or watching it melt away like a scoop of ice cream on a hot summer day. Uncomfortable, ashamed, self-conscious, disgusting, fat, ugly, unlovable. That is the image I see reflecting back at me. The mirror reminds me of my failure to be beautiful and to be thin. I overlook my dark chocolate eyes, my long, luscious locks, my extensive, lovely muscular legs, my God-given assets pert on my chest, and a smile that is always genuine. I miss all those things because my eyes can only focus on the extra bulge that folds over the top of my jeans. A bulge that, mind you, wouldn't exist so prevalently if average stores didn't just sell low-rise jeans, and if plus-size stores didn't just sell clothing for older women. I am well aware of the marshmallow fluff that spills out of the top of my jeans like a smushed s'more. However, what's a girl to do in a world that favors the size 2 as opposed to the size 10 or 12, where average clothes range too small and plus sizes range too big? I feel ashamed of my body, and even further, I feel ashamed of how I view my body. Surely it could be far worse. I could be heavier with various health problems, but I don't have any of that. Sometimes I can look down and feel all right about the extra dough rising against my sternum, but for the most part, I hate it. I hate that I let myself get this way, and I constantly wonder if other people are thinking the same thing about me that I'm thinking about myself, or if it's just a voice that only I am aware of. When I daydream, I like to imagine myself thin. Actually, I imagine a woman who looks nothing like me, perhaps because I'm still figuring out who I am, and in so many ways that woman doesn't exist yet. I wonder if losing 30 pounds or 40 pounds will actually change how I view myself, or if I will still hear those voices in my head telling me that I'm fat and that I'm not worthy of any second glances. So that was my piece. It's very honest, which I think you kind of have to be when talking about what it's like to live inside yourself. I think I would challenge anyone who, reads this article or watches this video to sit down and start with, in my body I feel. Just kind of start with that line and then move from there and be honest with yourself. Mine's very negative, but at the end of the day, I think it's made me more aware of how I view myself, and I think it's made me a little less self-conscious. Obviously, that's not going to disappear with a snap of my fingers, but I think it definitely helps when, you're being honest with yourself and you're talking about things that really bother you in terms of society. And I think it's just something really interesting that all women should try. So if you're feeling like sitting down and having kind of a reflecting moment, maybe in your journal or something, try it and, see what happens. Be honest and kind of go from there. Thanks, guys.